And good morning to everyone. It's Wednesday, December 13th, and time for another few words from the pastor. Happy Advent, continuing our Advent season. It's the second week of a season going by very, very quickly. I remember passing by a television, or it might have been a rerun or something on television, and it was a rerun of a little piece of I think it was the Giants game and the Green Bay Packer game this last weekend. And they were showing a section where a player had broken free and a pass was thrown to him, and it seemingly was going to be a touchdown, and he drops it. And I think it reminded me of a thought that I've been toying with for a while now about taking our eye off the goal, taking our eye off the ball. I think it was originated in baseball, how important it is to keep your eye on the ball at all times, know where it is at all times. But it's the same with us in life, how important it is for all of us to keep our eye on the ball. And what that means, and I think it's important in business, because if we don't have a clear set of directives, if we don't have a priority of objectives and goals in our life, we tend to float around and go from one thing to another thing, and it's a little bit of chaos. And it's no wonder that our lives are in chaos sometimes. But keeping our eye on the ball is an important part, especially for people of faith and for those who are not. Actually, for all of us, it's an important element. The idea I want to leave with us is, I was thinking about in chapter 14 of Matthew, when Jesus walking on the water toward the apostles on the boat on the sea, and they noticed him, and Peter said, "Lord, help me to come to you." He said, "Come." Jesus says to Peter. So Peter gets out of the boat and he starts walking on the water. He's focused on Jesus and he's walking on the water, and all of a sudden he begins to notice the wind and the waves, and he becomes frightened and he begins to sink. And then he says, "Lord, save me," and Jesus does. And so, "You of little faith, you took your eye." He didn't say this, but once he stopped focusing on Jesus, once he lost his attention to Jesus, boom, he began to sink. And how true that is in many of our lives, how often we take our eye off the ball also. We lose focus, we lose our attention, and we start to wander. I think it was, I mentioned, I think on Saturday at the day of retreat this last Saturday, about Albert Einstein. He was asked one day about, he was told by some people that the Declaration of Independence in America is about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And Albert Einstein said, "The pursuit of happiness?" He said, "That's for idiots." The people said, "What? What are you talking about? What should we be pursuing then?" He says, "It's not happy, happy, happy. Everybody's got to be happy all the time. It's always look here and look there, and this makes me happy, that makes me happy. That's what I should be pursuing." He said, "No, what we should be pursuing is truth and beauty. Those things that last, those things that endure." And I think certainly he had a very valid point when he was speaking about that. The idea how we sometimes get very shallow in our thinking. We get scattered as to looking for solutions to problems that come up. We don't like to deal with difficult questions. We don't like to deal with challenges or problems in our life. We don't like to look at them and deal with them head on. And we lose our focus and we get distracted. And as Catholic Christians, we look at this and we say, hey, we're asked to keep our faith and keep our focus on Jesus. And once we lose that focus, once we get distracted from that, it's when we find ourselves set adrift. It's when we find ourselves losing a peace of mind, losing a peace of heart and soul, losing the calmness and serenity that can come with total and complete belief and faith and trust. It is, we put ourselves in a situation where we try to hang on to everything else but where we should be. We look for the things, whether it be a car or a pool or this or jewelry or clothing or the newest electronic gadget. It makes me happy now. But what about 5 minutes afterwards when it becomes old and when it becomes used? Then we have to go after something else. Things are not what's going to should not be the focus of our life. It should be certainly God Himself. And then keep our eye on that, and then through God, the people that He sends us each day. Do we take the time to see and focus and see His gift to us in our families, in our loved ones? that this Christmas and this season is all about that, just that. Focusing on the gift of Christ himself at Christmas, that we celebrate at Christmas, because if Christmas is not about, if it fails to be mainly about the little baby, this young teenage mom, and poor anxious St. Joseph, I think, wondering what's going to happen next as they find themselves in that surrounding the little manger where their son Jesus was born. From humble beginnings, we see the realization of everything that he said and everything that he did comes from that humble beginning, comes from the reality that God became man. And why? Because he loves us. Let's not lose our focus of this Christmas season. It's not just about our Christmas stockings, and it's not just about Christmas parties, and it's not just about tinsel and light bulbs and all kinds of other things. It is about the Holy Family. It is about Jesus himself. This is his season. Let's make sure that we use it as such, okay, and see it as such. And keeping it focused on him, hopefully, as we draw closer to him, we'll ultimately draw closer to one another. And that's the reality of it. Continuing to see each other as brothers and sisters. As St. Teresa said, until we can begin to see each other as brothers and sisters, we will continue to walk in darkness. Let's choose not to do that. Let's choose to bring light to others and to be light for others. And in so doing, build the kingdom today and tomorrow. Have a great week, everybody. God bless you all. Know that we're thinking of you and praying for you. Remember those who are sick and hospitalized in our own faith family here, so many of them, and those who are caring for them. Peace, joy, hope, and the gift of love to all of you. Mary, Help of Christians, pray for us. Mary, Help of Christians, pray for you. God bless you.